right. Hello, Jen. Welcome to the show today. And today we are on the Spotlight, the Twin Cities Startup Week edition. Why don't we start with you introducing yourself to our audience today? And why are you here?
Hi, Kay. Thank you for having this conversation today. It's a pleasure to be here at Twin Cities Startup Week. It's actually my very first year attending today. I'm a speaker coach, so I came here to support some of my clients who presented here at Twin Cities Startup Week, and also some of my colleagues through National Speakers Association.
Okay. So you are here to support your students.
Exactly.
How do you feel looking at your creation, if you will?
Well, everything that they did, they brought to the table. I was just their guide, their facilitator. As a coach, it's really important to me to let my clients do their own creative process. So, of course, I feel proud of them. I feel excited. Some of the clients are taking their business in directions I never imagined, which is the beauty of being an entrepreneur. You get to do that. You get to choose what you participate in, how you deliver that message, and how to turn it into a movement.
How you turn it into a movement. And the movement, of course, comes the fruit of monetization, right? So how do you specifically help your clients do that?
Yeah, so monetizing speaking is interesting because you have a lot of gurus out there. God bless them, but they're out there saying, hey, you just need to build visibility, you need to build awareness. That's great when you're just trying to generate new leads for your business. But what about the income piece of it? So many of my clients say, Jen, I've been speaking. It's not going anywhere. I'm not getting new clients. I'm not charging a speaking fee because they give me free dinner instead of giving me a check. I'm like, okay, well, let's examine that. Let's examine what success looks like from a speaking standpoint. So charging speaking fees all the way up to $10,000 per speaking engagement. And establishing yourself as a well-known expert in your field takes a different process than just showing up and networking and providing education programs. Instead, you're providing something that people can't get outside of a Google or AI search. You're providing a service, you're providing an answer to a question that can't be answered anywhere else through your speaking programs.
Wonderful. So how did you fall into space?
Yeah, I love that you use the wording fall into it. It's because
Into space, right?
yes, we are in fall, my favorite season. But more than that, I didn't know that messages could convert the way they do. I was in Toastmasters ages ago, and I was so excited to share some new content about how I lost 100 pounds in 1 year. Very first time sharing that story. And after 5 minutes of delivering that content, my mentor in Toastmasters came up to me and she said, Jen, I want to change my life because of what you just shared with us. And so I realized I have a message. I can inspire a movement. And if that's what happens in 5 minutes, what can happen in 25 minutes or 55 minutes? So I took that message and created Weightless, which is my company. But more than that, I know that a lot of people are suffering, right? Coaches, business owners, they're starting their own thing. There's a lot of things you could focus on. You still need to get found, and you still need to share your message. Public speaking is the best way to combine lead generation with sales. And that's what I help people do.
Wow. So that first 5 minutes, right? That first content. I know, the fear, the type of courage you have to master to kind of put that together, first of all, and then put it out there. What was the thing that's going on in your head when you were creating that 5 minute of content and then deciding, I'm going to put this out there? What's the mindset?
I love that you asked about mindset because that's one thing that sets me aside from other speaker coaches. There's a lot of speaker coaches, but they focus more on the message itself, like the delivery, the mechanics. As a coach, I help you with the mindset of that. So I have people who come up to me and they say, Jen, I don't know if I have what it takes. I don't know if I'm the expert they're looking for. I don't know if this message is going to resonate with that audience. So first of all, you have to give yourself permission. Permission to be that expert. Permission to show up powerfully in the way that only you can show up. Deliver that message well, and then be confident that they need more of what you offer by making that invitation very clear so they understand what the next steps are, should they choose to accept them.
Right. Yeah. So the word acceptance, right? I think that word is tied to confidence. Because once you get to that state of like, okay, I'm accepting this challenge, right? This purpose. and that gives you the courage to get out there. But it's a word that's being thrown around so much. Like you just need to have courage, you just need to have confidence. But how do you actually get that confidence? Like, especially for a person who, like, I have not spoken anywhere, but I know I have a message. What are, I guess, if you can put it on a 1, 2, 3 tips, if you will, because I know there's so much going on in that, right? So what would be the first 3 things that you will share to someone who is like super brand new?
Well, that's a great question. So I think, first of all, I would say that confidence is not something you inherit. It's not something you're born with. It's something you develop over time. So it's a muscle. I come from the fitness industry, or I used to talk about health and wellness. So it's building that muscle, like that repeated actions day in, day out, that creates that confidence. You can't think your way into confidence. It just doesn't exist that way. So if you're stuck, you're probably thinking too hard. So that's step number 1. Stop overthinking it. You are stronger than you believe, and the confidence is there when you're ready to access it. Now, tip number 2 is you need to know what it is you're talking about. Because if you don't know, your audience is not going to know, and they're going to be confused, and you're going to feel disappointed in the results you get from that particular presentation. Step 3, go out there and do it. You're entrepreneurs, you're business owners. You are doing what you do for a reason, and you are serving the people you serve for a reason. What's stopping you? You don't need my permission. You only need your own permission.
That's spicy mic drop right there. One drop. So think, know, and do, right? So they have to not overthink it. That's the think part. They have to know this. There has to be some level of mastery of knowing, like, okay, well, I actually do know what I'm talking about, and therefore I am capable of helping others who is open to being held. That's the idea, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. So how did you find out about this event? Because you said this is your first time. I know you mentioned you're here to support your students. How do you find the event so far? What has been your experience? And what has been I guess we are still on the second day of the event, right? What has been the highlight so far for Will?
Ooh, well, you brought me back to downtown. So shout out Twin Cities. I love being in downtown. I used to work here when I was in my corporate days. So I love being in downtown, and I get to go to St. Paul on Thursday because I'm also attending some events on Thursday to see a keynote speaker that I have not yet heard to speak. So that's Nancy Lambs, I think is how you pronounce her name. But yeah, I really enjoyed the venues. I'm in the North Star building right now, so it's a great venue. I visited a speaker in LaSalle Plaza, which it's been years since I've been there. I appreciate that. I also think that the staff and the volunteers are amazing. They are doing their thing. They are answering those questions. I see a lot of people wandering in downtown getting lost. I know I got lost for a minute, and there's always somebody to step up and say, is there anything you need? So I would say that it's a really well-run, well-organized event. The branding is on point. So if you're a person who's focusing on branding, pay attention to what's going on here. In terms of attending events like this, and I used to hesitate because I am not a person who appreciates group networking. I'm a very, I do one-to-one work with my clients, so I like intimate settings. I like smaller groups. That's where I really shine. So this was a little intimidating for me, but for those of you who are on the fence, I would say try it out. Find one event, find one person that you can talk to and get beyond that comfort zone.
Another spicy mic drop. Get out of that comfort zone, right? I guess I want to piggyback on that idea of like getting out of your comfort zone. Obviously, when we start doing something, especially when we're doing it for the first time, there's always that jitter. Or like, oh, I'm so nervous. How did you get over yours?
I wasn't jittery to come today.
Oh, not today?
Oh, no, I do still get nervous when I present to groups of people, but when I'm attending and supporting others, I just feel good. I feel good about that support for the Twin Cities community. I've given back on boards and serving in different positions, volunteer positions. I've, mentored kids. I've mentored people at Minnesota Cup. So I believe in giving back. But there are also people here who maybe are trying to learn some skills that they haven't learned yet. So when it comes to learning, just have that beginner's mind and don't say, I already know that. I've learned that already. Somebody else told me that. Open yourself up to different ways of thinking, different ways of expressing, and different ways of connecting with people. And I think that's how you can get past those jitters. It's not about you. It's about who you meet and being present with them.
It's not about you, right? It's like, I think there is a lot of the spirit of being in service, right? How can I be more of a resource or help for the people I'm here to interact with? I think it's
Absolutely.
full. Yeah, wonderful. Well, I always wanna ask this question to everybody that I speak to or interview. What motivates you? What gets you up in the morning and say, I can do this again. I can do this again. I can do this over and over again.
Well, part of it is, hearing my clients just excel beyond anything they've learned through working with me. So all kudos to my clients for putting in the work and doing the darn thing. And I would also say once in a while, you and I spoke outside of this about our families, and I have 2 daughters. I've brought my daughters with me to different speaking events, and the biggest compliment I've ever received is when my daughter would repeat something that I shared at one of those events, and she'll throw it back to me almost subconsciously. And I'm like, well, I wonder where you picked that up. But it's such a great compliment, not only to see people go out there doing what they do best, but also to hear other people repeat what you shared to them. And whether it's your loved ones, your peers, your colleagues, it just feels great to know that something is resonating, right? You're making that connection through that alignment with ideas and the way you express your ideas. And I don't think there's anything more exciting than that.
I can agree. I 100% like. There's no more of a compliment, right, than witnessing how we are impacting the lives of our loved ones. I mean, our kids, right, or within that family, within that home. So that's a beautiful thing to share. Thank you so much. How do people get to find you if they are looking to start their speaking career? Where and how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I hang out on LinkedIn. That's my primary water cooler. So the best place you can find me online. I'm on Instagram as well, but my website is weightlesschronicles.com. So you're happy to visit me there. If you want to just schedule a phone call, I'm happy to connect with you. And if you're not certain, if you're feeling a little intimidated, a little bit shy, a little bit nervous, that's okay. I get nervous too. But just know that if you reach out and say, hey, I heard you at Twin Cities Startup, I heard the podcast, and I think I want to have a conversation, my door is always open.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, before we end the show, one more question. If there is one thing that a brand new speaker need to know more of, it's not like a well-known thing for them, what would that be?
I would say it's what you want to know less of. I see so many speakers who try to do what other speakers are doing. Stop that. You do not need to do what anyone else is doing. Your journey is unique. However, if you want to receive support, look for somebody who's doing the things that you want to do, or they've already done those things. That's where the rubber meets the road. So you can still have your own creative process and still have your brilliant ideas, but look for someone who's been in places where you most want to be in the future.
Breathe. I'm going to zip it from there. Mic drop. Well, thank you for being here with us today. Such a pleasure having you. We will see more of you for sure.
Thank you, Kay.
You're welcome.
Hey, it's Will with the Podcast Crew team. Spotlight is a vidcast shot at the Podcast Crew studios in Minneapolis. We would love for you to be our guest. Email us at the email address on your screen below to get a copy of the upcoming schedule. It's free, it's easy, and is a great way to try out a podcast or a vidcast with our pro team. We do an in-person, in-studio version if you're in the Twin Cities area, and also an online version if you're somewhere else. We'd love to have you, hear your story, and help you start your podcast journey. Thanks. Get in touch today.